Let me first give all praise and all honor to the God of my ancestors, the God of Africa, the Almighty, Amen Ra. This is your brother Radio 1 coming back at you again with another video of truth and historical reality. And the name of this video is Hebrews to Negroes is a false title and Ronald Dalton is a fraud. Yes, that's what we're going to be talking about today. Now, when we deal with this title, Hebrews to Negroes, it is a fact that this title is not historically accurate. And this title is not supported by historical records. And neither it is supported by the Bible. Yes, it is a false title that was made up by Mr. Ronald Dalton himself. And some of you may say, well, what is it to you? What is it to me? Why does this concern me? Why am I talking on this? Well, let me first make it clear that these people called Negroes, who Ronald Dalton is lying about, are my ancestors. Yes, these Negroes are my ancestors. And they are the ancestors of all black Americans in America. And Ronald Dalton is lying about them. Yes, Hebrews to Negroes is just as false as saying Hebrews to Chinese, or Hebrews to Egyptians, or Hebrews to Russians. Yes, because it does not correspond with the records. If you don't stick to the records, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Okay, you can call it Hebrews to aliens, or Hebrews to monsters, or anything. So today we're going to be exposing this lie. And we're going to stick to the records. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. Stick to the records because I do not want to lie to you. I'd rather stick to the records and tell you the truth. Okay? See, Ronald Dalton, he don't stick to the records. So he will make up any kind of story to lie to you. Okay? Because it's not about the truth. It's about him. He wants your money. Okay? But I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to stick to the records and tell you the truth. Even if you want me to lie to you, I'm not going to lie to you. So what we're going to do is stick to the truth, stick to the records. Okay? Because a lie can sound so pretty. A lie can sound so polished. It can sound so sharp. And it can sound so convincing. But it is still a lie. And lying is not good. And even the truth. The truth can be boring. The truth can be ugly. And the truth can sound not so convincing. But it is the truth. And the truth is good. And you have to accept it. And the Hebrew Israelite nation will fall because it is a nation that is built on lies. And a nation that is built on lies is destined to fall. So admit your wrongs. Stop acting like you're right all the time, Hebrew Israelites. Be a man, be a woman, confess to your lies, admit your lies, accept the truth, and move on. But today, yes, today we're going to get down to the bottom of this. Okay? Because like I said, the Negroes are my ancestors. And Ronald Dalton, after this video, you're going to have to choose another race of people to lie about. Because I am not going to allow you to lie about my Negro ancestors. I am going to tell the truth about my Negro ancestors. So let's get off into it. So we're going to deal with the first mention of Hebrew in the Bible. Where is the first mention of Hebrew? Okay. First mention of Hebrew is in the book of Genesis, chapter 14, verse 13. That's the first mention of the word Hebrew, Hebrew. And it goes on to say, one of the survivors came and told Abram, the Hebrew, who lived near the oaks belonging to Mamre, the Amorite, the brother of Eshau and the brother of Anir. They were bound by a treaty with Abram. So we see here the first mention of Hebrew is in the book of Genesis 14:13, and it is referring to Abraham. Let's read it again. One of the survivors came and told Abram, or Abraham, the Hebrew. So we see here Abraham is called the Hebrew, and it's the first time that Hebrew is mentioned in the Bible. And we know that Abraham, or Abram, is the ancestor of the Israelites, or the Hebrew Israelites. So let's go to that, because like I said, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to go to the records and prove what I say, because I refuse to lie to you. So let's see here. Straight to the Bible. First Chronicles, okay, chapter 1, verse 34. It says, Abraham fathered Isaac. Isaac's sons were Esau and Israel. So we see here that Abraham was the ancestor of both Isaac and Israel. We hear no mention of Negro. No mention of Negro. Let's move on to First Chronicles chapter 2, verse 1. These were the sons of Israel, or these were Israel's sons: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, Issachar, Zebulun, Dan, Joseph, Benjamin, Naphtali, Gad, and Ashur. Okay? Did you hear anything about Negro in there? No mention of Negro. And it also mentions Judah as a son of Israel. And Judah are the Jews. So you can connect Hebrews in Israel with the Jews. Okay? All the same people. Hebrews, Israelites, and Jews. The same people. Come from the same lineage. Hebrew. But let's move on. Okay? So we see here, according to the Bible, it makes no mention of Hebrew and Negro. It is a false term, and it's not supported by the Bible. The more correct term will be Hebrews to Israelites, or Hebrews to Jews, but not Hebrews to Negroes. That is a false term. So let's move on. Okay, and that's going to wrap it up for the Bible. But we see here, okay, according to 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 22, it says, are they Hebrews? So am I. Are they Israelites? So am I. Are they the seed of Abraham? So am I. So again, we see a connection in the New Testament of Hebrews, Israelites, and Abraham. No mention of Negroes. So we see here, according to the Bible, no connection between Hebrews and Negroes. But let's move on to later history. See what later historians have to say. We're going to move on to the time that's near to the Atlantic slave trade, which was the 1500s AD. Okay? And we're going to go to the historian named Leo Africanus. Leo Africanus was a Moorish historian who lived between 1492 to 1550 AD, which was 500 years ago. Okay? And he goes on to say this. He is talking about a town in Morocco that is called Et Duet. Okay? And he says, in the said town are Jews of all occupations, which they affirm. Yeah, let's read that again. In the said town are Jews of all occupations, which affirm that the first inhabitants of this town came by natural descent from King David. So he says that the town is inhabited by Jews who came from the lineage of King David. So he connects the Jews of his time with King David, meaning they were descendants of Hebrews or Israelites, all the same people. Okay, Hebrews, Israelites, and Jews, all the same people. He connects them with King David, and he also connects them with, Moses. But let's move on. Let's move on, and we're going to wrap it up. Okay? But let's move on to the Negroes. Okay? Who was the first authority or the first writer in history to mention these people called Negroes? And the first writer to mention Negroes was a Roman historian that goes by the name of Pliny. And he also is called Pliny the Elder. And he wrote in his book, The Natural Histories, Book 5, Chapter 8, he goes on to say, if we pass through the interior of Africa in a southerly direction beyond the Gutile, after having traversed intervening deserts, we shall find first of all the Libyan Egyptians, and then the country where the Leuco Ethiopians dwell, meaning light-skinned Ethiopians. Beyond these are the Negrite, nations of Ethiopia, so-called from the river Negris. Okay? He says, beyond these are the Negrite, who are the ancestors of the Negroes in the river Negris, which is where the word Niger derives from, which is referring to the modern-day Niger River. So we see here, according to Pliny, the Negroes were an Ethiopian nation. But let's move on. So we're going to move back to Leo Africanus, okay? When he speaks on the origin of the Negro people. And he goes on to say, for all the Leo Africanus, Description of Africa, Book 1. He says, for all the Negroes or black Moors take their descent from Cush, the son of Ham, who was the son of Noah. But whatsoever difference there be between the Negroes and the tawny Moors, certain it is that they had all one beginning. For the Negroes are descended of the Philistines, and the Philistines of Mizraim, the son of Cush. Okay? But the tawny Moors fetched their origins from the Sabaeans, and it is evidence that Saba was begotten of Rama, which was the eldest son of Cush. So we see here, according to Leo Africanus, Book 1, the Negroes were descendants of Cush, Mizraim, and the Philistines. Okay? Which support what Pliny the Elder says about the Negrite being descendants of Ethiopians, because the Ethiopians were also descendants of Cush and Mizraim. Yes, they were a mixture of Cushites and Egyptians. That's who the Negroes are. So we see here, according to Leo Africanus, the Jews of his time were connected to King David and the Hebrews. And the Negroes of his time were descendants of Cush or Cushites and Egyptians and Philistines. They were what we call Hamites. Yes. So I need not to say anymore. Okay? We just prove with the Bible and with history that Negro, Hebrew, and Negro is a false term, and there's no connection between the two. And we just exposed Ronald Dalton to be a liar. Okay? Ronald Dalton started telling the truth. So I'm going to leave it at that. But we see here that the Negroes, okay, my ancestors are descendants of Cush. And we descend from a great royal bloodline that goes all the way back to ancient Egypt. That is who we are. We have nothing to do with Hebrews, nothing to do with Abraham, Abraham, Israelites, Hebrews, none of that. We have nothing to do with Jews or Judah, none of that. That's who we are. Our ancestors were Negroes, descendants of Cush and Mizraim. Okay? A bloodline that goes all the way back to the 18th dynasty to the 1st dynasty. That is who we are. So this is your brother Radio 1. We see here, okay, Hebrews to Negroes is false. No connection with Hebrews and Negroes in the Bible or in history. This is your brother Radio 1 coming back at you again with another video of truth and historical reality. And until next time, Egypt stays in Africa. Signing off, peace, and Amen Ra.